Our story is more than what hobbits and elves know. It is time we told it ourselves.
Before I get started, I want to give thanks to the Master Dwarf Builders that inspired me and helped me learn how to build along the way. Adventures of Mirak Firmax at mirakfirmax-1988. Axbeard at YouTube's Axbeard Roman numeral 13. Fireman Davy at YouTube Fireman Davy. Nolia Blue at YouTube Nolia Blue. And finally, Jubo_1071 at YouTube, Jubo_1071. All great builders. Watch them for advanced building techniques. So for this purpose, we're going to put the hearth in the middle so we can see what the build radius is of it. Middle-ish. Okay. So you can see this almost covers the entire section. Almost goes from column to column. Okay, so we don't quite reach those columns. But this will give us plenty of space to build in. So let's put a chest next to it. Do I have enough to build a chest now? Yes. Okay, now I can dump some supplies in here. Whatever chest you have in your space, in your hearth range, you can put supplies in and pull from it. Now I've got some space open in my pack. So this is not a destructible pile, because it didn't give any points off of it. Go around and gather up my stone. So the first thing I'm going to do is block off my area. And I have found through experimenting, roof segments are very effective as an outer barrier. Because the orcs and goblins, for some reason, don't recognize it as a destructible building item. So they actually almost avoid it. That was an orc torch. You can build through an orc torch, but you cannot build through one of our man-made torches. And you want to make sure this goes all the way to the wall. And using your arrow keys on your pad, your D-pad, look at the, if you look up a little bit, you can push it down. Because you don't want any gaps. If you left a gap here, they can slip through. Probably gonna end up using a lot of my... Okay, I don't see any gap. That melds into it. Nice. So we just need to do this one more side. See how it jumps up? You want to make sure it comes down and touches the floor. Because if it's up in the air, it leaves a gap. If you look up and then do the arrow key, you can push it down. That is into the wall, so we should be secure for building in here. And I saw plenty of stuff. Okay, so to make that even more secure, if you wanted to, you can double up the roof backed by stone barriers, double high, if you wanted to. Okay, and you can see I've got just under 1,000, and with the roof segments I already laid down, I probably got 1,000 pieces of stone alone from that one ore room that I mined. Okay, I'm not going to do the stone barriers right now as a backing because I kind of want to see how well these hold up on their own as it is. So we do have a hearth down, which means we are open for siege at any time. Okay, so Building 101. You want to clear off your ground. So if you can build on natural ground, that's the best. Previously already made in-game floors like this is the best for building on. For right now in the beginning when your supplies are so limited. So you want to start with a column, and for whatever reason they don't put objects in front of you. They raise them up so that they're not visible or workable the way they are. So you can move your object by looking down, using your right stick on the controller to look down. I work on a Xbox, so PC people, you'll have to pay attention to your screen information to get your key input. Okay, so if you look to the right of where on the lower part of the screen in the center, it gives you your indications for what you need to do to rotate objects. Okay, so LBRB rotates it, which in this game doesn't do much because you're working with square pieces. Your D-pads, arrows, up moves it away from you, down moves it closer to you. If you look up, if you're not able to see the top of your object, my recommendation is you push it away from you and then use the D-pad to change the height. So I'm going to lower it so I can see where it is. Okay, and as you can see, it's a little difficult to see because my body's in the way. If you push down, see it says right stick down, hat, push in your hat, right hat, toggle camera height. So closer, far away, closer, far away. So objects that you cannot build will appear red. It says build on a floor, and then once you touch the floor, it will turn a normal color. Now the color schemes can change from normal, we call it solid color, to yellow, which means you can build it there. It may or may not have instability. For the most part, yellow will be stable. Okay. There's also a, if I can get it to do it, there's a orange, which is hard to distinguish between the yellow. You'll see it be yellow and then it'll turn ever so slightly a different color. But if you see like the red, let me get a red here again. When you're trying to interact with other pieces, trying to get it to turn red again. So if I try to build there, it'll explode. Okay? Because it's not, it's unstable. So red is a no-go, yellow is okay, solid is best. But don't kill yourself trying to make it solid. There's an orange color that shows up once in a great while, and that means it's highly unstable. You may be able to place the piece, but it could explode later when the game does a stability check. And the game does a stability check every so often. It also does a check when you teleport with a mapstone somewhere and back. If you leave a zone and come back, you can lay down a floor first if you choose to. However, floors going down first can sometimes cause your structure not to touch the ground, the game-based ground, and that will throw off your stability. It's best to always start attaching your building to the actual game ground first and then add floors in later. Okay, columns will not snap on the grid. However, if you use a game floor like this, that is the same as the tile floors, right? 3x3 is a 3x3, just about. Then you can use those to go by for alignment. I always suggest, because when you first start the game out, once you get the iron hammer, you'll have these pieces open. These are all the pieces you have to build with for structure. Okay, I recommend you always build with columns. And the order that you go in is you do columns, ground floor columns, and I try to center them on the cross here. So when you do lay your floor down, they will build this out a little bit more. When you put the floor down, they'll match into the columns. And you span them 3 paces apart as if it was a floor tile. That's how big the walls are. So you can, even though they don't snap, you can line them up quite effectively. Now the color schemes that you will see are the solid color when it's in contact and stable. Contact with the ground and stable. You'll see red, translucent red like this for when you won't be able to build at all. You'll get a colored red like this for not stable, and if I tried to build here, it'll explode. See, it explodes. You'll also get yellow, which is semi-stable and perfectly fine for building. You have to pay attention though, because as you go up in height and complexity, the yellow will turn to orange or red quicker sometimes, depending on if you lose your stability. Okay, so let's keep going around here. We want to make sure we're on the same line. 1, 2, 3. Oops, wrong button. Let's see if this pile of dirt gets in the way. If you want to check and see if it's going to be in the way, you move it through the non-movable dirt and see if it bounces up. It doesn't bounce up, so we're good. No, that time I was bouncing it. Oh, it's in the ground. Okay, hold on. It was too far up. There we go. Sorry, it's a little difficult to see. You want to make sure we're touching the ground. 2, 3. Hopefully I've got enough stone for this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So basically you can build, this is a 3x3, So you can build a 3x4 structure, and I'll have an insert picture of this here, without having extra supports in the middle for the stone. So a 3x3 will be a little bit small because stairs take up a whole corner of it, but it's workable. Okay, so now you have to determine, before you put your walls in, how high you want your structure. If you want just a one-story structure, you can add your walls in now, throw in a roof, and you're done. You can throw in a floor later if you want to add more style to it. If you are going up another floor, I have found with my experience in my testing that you put your next floor columns in now before you put in your walls for the floor that you're currently working on. This ensures that your columns are going to touch and have good contact with the columns below, which are touching the ground, right? So your stability continues through, and you can see that and get the verification of it by your column that you go to lay on top being the natural color. It's not yellow, it's not orange. If it was yellow, you're still good to go. It just means pay attention when you get higher. Okay, so we've got our second story columns in place. Now let's put in our walls down below. So I'm going to start off with a door on the corner. You can put your door wherever you want. There's no stability difference between stone window or stone wall. Archway is obviously going to leave an opening for somebody to come through. A window is fine. Enemies will not go through a wall with a window. So let's make sure that snaps in. And again, the reason you put the columns in is to give you good secure stability. You can get away with just doing the walls alone, but it doesn't give you as strong of a stability for the structure when you're going up in height. You need the columns for support. Okay, we've got our first wall in. Now we need to get to the second floor. So we have wooden stairs available. I recommend in the small structures right now that you go with the small stairs. You can use a tall wooden stair that goes an entire floor in one shot, but as you can see, it takes up a lot of space as well and can be difficult to lay. Right? It's very large. It takes up a lot of room. The small stairs is a 2 square stair, and if you use a platform to go by, the platform is 2 squares wide, so you can see it's snapping. So let's put it 2 squares out. You want to make sure by changing your angle that your stairs are touching the ground, which they are. It's okay if they sink into the stone wall. Let's put in a quick platform, and it should snap to them. It's going to be wider because it's a 2x3. The stairs are too wide. Okay, so now we're halfway there. Let's go back and put in our small stairs. These will snap to your other stairs or the end of the platform. It's your choice what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to snap them to the end of the platform. And now we've got our way up to the second floor. You should, when you have time and supplies, put in a support at the corner of your stairs. This will help ensure the stability of your stairs all the way up. Again, you want to make sure you're touching the ground. You can see it snap to the stairs and the ground. It does take up some room, but this will help ensure that your stairs are stable. Okay, so we're going up another section, so let's use our controls to get that second floor column in. Okay, now we're on the second floor. We need to decide, are we going 3 floors high, or are we just going to build a 2-story structure? Again, if you're going to go another floor up before you put the walls in on the floor that you're working on, you put the next row of columns for the story above you. Okay? So if we were going to go 3 stories high, I would start putting in the columns for the 3rd story here. Which I do have enough stone to do, it looks like, at the moment. Sorry, I'm messing with, there we go, controls. This gets a little tricky here while you're not quite on the floor.
Quiet! I see prey ahead.
But you'll see that during my testing, I have built a 4-story stone building, and I have not had any stability issues with it yet, even though I've been out in and out multiple times. So I'm going to throw a wood platform on here, just so I can try and get out a little further. This is just a temporary wood platform. You can see the color variations here again. Yellow is okay. And if you need to destroy something, again in the menu, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see if you push your left button in, you'll get a pointer and you can destroy built objects. Make sure you're reading the text for what is being selected, or else you can end up destroying the wrong section, right? Fine movements is what this calls for. The vertical building got some kind of tweak, making it a little bit more difficult. Okay, and let's not forget to do the stair. All right. Now we can lay in our wall for the second floor. We do not want to put in a floor yet, because the floor could throw off the wall segment. Because sometimes the wall will sit on top of the floor instead of where it belongs. Remember to use your D-pad, up and down arrows to push the piece where you need it to be. LBRB rotates it. Bring it closer. Walk and look to help place the pieces. Sometimes when I'm not sure, I'll turn and pull the piece back and forth just to make sure it snaps in there. Okay, so we've got our second floor wall up. When there's no stability for something, it'll auto-destruct, just like that piece did down there. And it's too far away for me to grab it. Alright, now we can start laying the floor in. We can do the stone floor. You see it'll snap into the corner and to the stairs. Make sure it's lined up. I like to push it out a little more in front of me. They do snap, but there is a little bit of wiggle room. So you just have to be careful and patient to make sure you've got them lined up right. And you can see the floor segments are still giving a natural color. That looks like it's down. Nope, it's even. Okay. So that means they're stable, in theory. And generally this middle piece will be yellow, but it shouldn't cause an issue. So you can see how the stairs take up a large section, right, of your floor space. That's why a 3x4 is in stone gives you a lot more room, and you'll see a demonstration of that. So always use single tiles when you can't put a full tile down. I think that's all we can get. I think if I put a tile down there, it's going to be too tight. Yeah. So we'll leave that open. Well, let me see. Let me put a tile down and see how bad it is. It's all your own taste, right? What can you stand? What makes you feel claustrophobic? Oh, those are off. So you still can climb up through there. Oh, it's these that are off because of the stairway pushed it out. Pushed them in. If you use an entire floor tile to try and span just that one gap, you're overlaying a tile on top of another tile, and the game will let you do it for a while. But then you'll start getting this flashing tile, spazzing tile happening. So now you have to decide when you're going up one more floor. I'm only going to go 3 here. Do I continue my stairs here by just making it go up this way and go in a corner? Do I repeat the stair, have it go this way, up on the corner and around? It's all up to you how you want to do it. How do you want the flow of you climbing the stairs to be, right? I kind of like the ability to continue climbing up the stair all in one step. So I would want to start my stairs either here and go back around. I could have also taken the stairs this way. And just made the stairs in this corner. But I think that takes out a lot more of the room. Because then this whole section here would not be usable. As opposed, well, it's 2 tiles, right? In what direction? So let me show you a different way to do stairs. The back and forth. So if I put stairs here, whoops daisy, too far forward. There we go. So we've got our stairs going this way, have to lay down 1.5 platforms. Now let's pull these stairs in. Got to adjust them because we are so close. There we go. That looks like it goes in there. Yeah. Okay, now we're up to this 3rd floor. This is as far as we're going. We're already to the ceiling. So we can lay in our walls. Oh, that's as far as I can get. Okay, so we need a couple of quick platforms. Wow, that's obnoxious. Noxious red. I'll make sure it's snapping in. We're getting up high, so it's the camera's having trouble. Why did that change to that bright, obnoxious neon red? That stuff is so painful for my eyes to look at. I apologize to any of my viewers that have that sensitivity as well. Okay. Get rid of our platforms. Now we can lay in more stone. I like to jiggle it back and forth just to make sure I am connecting. Oh my gosh, that's painful. Okay, so since we bumped that back more, we're going to end up with a gap. Okay, I would rather have the solid tile against the wall. And have like single tiles. Oh, that is not... What is going on here? It is all over the place. Not quite sure why that was misaligned. But that's just going to happen. You just got to pay attention. Must have pushed it too far through the wall. Okay. Oh! That was ridiculously bright. That was painful. That was not needed. Okay, so now we're going to switch to single tiles. Oh, do you see there's a gap all the way along here? We want to make sure these are touching the tile, touching the floor tile. There we go. So you can see you save like a square of space. That's about it. Clean up your mess so you don't have stuff around. Okay, so we've got 1 floor, 2 floor, scissor back stair, 3 floor. Okay, so if you want to put on a roof, or you can leave it open, it's up to you. You don't have to put on a roof. We might have trouble because of the way the height we're at. See, we're at, that hearth is small enough that we can't go more than 3 stories tall. But we probably can, because the hearth range is vertical as well. Should be able to lay a floor tile in here. Remember, yellow's okay. It's just the orange you want to watch out for. Orange will let you build something there, but it'll be a higher level of instability. So basically, if we were actually using the roof sections, something's uneven there. If we're using the roof sections, you use the roof section along the edges, and then you just tile it in with the floor tiles anyway. Alright, so here's your stone structure. Stone will have less strength in a straight-on siege, but that's why you build an outside barrier wall. Right? So you give yourself some space to get out of your door and jump up to stuff. If you want, you could put an actual wall height in here, which the enemies cannot jump onto. And then what I prefer to do, if I'm going to put in walls, is you double up the thickness of them by stacking walls together. And then because you can't jump onto a wall, that's when you throw in your tall stairs. And you can run up to the top of your wall and jump down to do the attacks. Okay? Or you can also, another technique you can use is put in your double wall section. And then, whoops, sorry, I'm stuck with the building. Let's get rid of the stair, that'll be easier. Put in your double wall section. And then you use the barriers for jumping on. So double height barrier, single height barrier, jump on that easy, jump on that easy, jump up, and then you can jump down onto your enemies. Some people prefer to do a double door, but you have to make sure that the doors are not placed too close together, or else you'll end up opening one door and closing the other at the same time. Okay, so I prefer the stair leaping method, or barriers. You can stack those a lot closer. Stack them right on top of each other. The other thing I recommend when you're building is you give a full tile space around your door. So you have your door has a tile space in front of it, and then you give at least 3 more tiles out from that before you place anything else down. If you place anything within that space, like from here to the door, if you place anything in here, you have a chance of triggering that instead of closing your door. Again, causing an issue when you're in the middle of a siege, trying to get back in and repair your stuff. So this is Building 101. You can build the same type of structure out of granite when you have that that material available to you, and you can go up from there, but it's always columns. If you're building a second floor columns, first floor walls, go up, put in your stairs to get to the second floor. If you're going to go up another floor, put in your next floor of columns, put in the walls for the current floor that you're working on. Then you can put in the floor underneath you. So like here, if we wanted to put in a floor on the ground, we can. You'll have to move the hearth because it won't let you build where other items are on the floor already. But you can see that's not going to alter the stability of the structure because the floor is going in last. Anytime you work with the floor, you run the risk, with the floor first, you run the risk of whatever item you're putting on top of the floor not attaching to the structural item that it needs to below it. I've run into that problem over and over again. So floors are always the last thing to go in. And then if you want to do a roof, you can add a roof. Having a roof on your structure's not really an issue until you start having flying beasties. Bats don't really cause any destruction to structures. They just become an annoyance to you. Alright. Exterior barrier to help protect your stone building while it's stone. When you get access to granite and the other woods in the game, you can build all kinds of things using these basic principles. You can even do circle towers if you'd like. It's all up to you to try. Just don't stop trying. You can even build crazy bed structures like I did. Try crazy things, see what sticks, see what happens. Test things out. Use real-world castles for inspiration. Keep building. Thanks for watching.